Yes, there it is.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
Good
afternoon.
morning. Hang on, let me get my stuff here.
Good evening. Good evening, we should say.
I don't know, brother. Doesn't it feel like morning to you?
It sure does, man.
Been a long day.
Yep.
Hang on here. Let me get my stuff running here. All right. Uh-oh. Are we there? Okay, there we go.
Yep. We're there.
All right, everybody, welcome to our COVID-19 discussion, and I appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Thank you very much. Tonight, Charlie and I, a lot of things been happening. They're asking, good morning. Yes, good morning, good morning. A lot of things been happening in the last 24 hours. You know, um, a lot of people been posting a lot of things, but we're just going to discuss. Charlie and I are going to have a blunt, open discussion about the last 48 hours here on Kauai, and please join in by posting your comments and your questions. When we're looking down like this, that's what we're doing. We're watching the comments, and so it's not we've fallen asleep or anything. It's just that we are checking the comments and the questions. We got a lot of people coming on. Thank you guys again. Now would be a good time to hit that share button, share this Facebook Live, start a watch party, and let's get this out to as many people as can. Again, the opinions of this Facebook Live do not reflect the opinions of Facebook or Zoom or anything else, because typically, Charlie and I, what we do is we put information. That's what we do. We put information out there to inform and educate. And as Charlie keeps saying, it's for you guys to use how you see fit. And some people think it's fear mongering. Well, it's not fear mongering. It's information that is out there that we want to share. And you guys, hang on here, Sam, Patsy. Guess my T-shirt request failed. No, Sam, your T-shirt is all of you guys that we had several different orders. So those of you, the first batch went out. Patsy just put the second batch together, and we have one more small batch for third, and then the Doodle Boy shirts will be coming out as well very shortly, as soon as we get that final print from Kirk Korea. By the way, today is Kirk's anniversary. Kirk and his wife celebrating their anniversary, so I'm not sure they're going to be on. He told me he's making steak and lobster for their anniversary. So happy anniversary goes out to Kirk Korea again. Island Athletic Tees. They're the ones that have put this shirt together. They donated the shirts. If you guys still want one of these shirts, limited number left. It is $10, and you can just send me your order to my messenger, and I'll send you the pay link. It's PayPal or Venmo, but it's $10 for the shirt. Doodle Boy shirts are going to be $15 because there's print on both sides. There's going to be a print on the front and print on the back. So that one is going to be $15. As soon as we get the design, again, we will share it with you folks. So again, thank you guys for joining us. I know we're competing with a bunch of live entertainers tonight that are on. I know Mr. Iwohi, Bronson Iwohi, is doing his live. So and really, this is an opportunity for all these local talent to share their craft with everybody. So yeah, you're not hurting our feelings if you're somewhere else watching some local entertainer entertain you folks, because that's what we really need right now. So Charles, where do you want to start, man? I mean, how was
Well,
your day? Well, how was your day?
well, my day was kind of tiring. I don't know what it was. It's just like I felt I didn't just have the energy. It was a beautiful day in Waimea. Beautiful day. The temperature was about between 82 and 85 degrees. It was nice and sunny. It was a cool cross breeze. So I shouldn't, you know, it was so good in the neighborhood to see, the kids walking around with their pets, just walking around, getting on good exercise. And it was just overall, it was a beautiful day. But for some reason, I'm tired. I'm sorry I didn't wear my shirt tonight, but I'm still in a festive spirit with my Manu Heli'i. as I come to you as the COVID tour guide, I'll try to take you. I'll try to take you through COVID Hawaii, and so I just wanted to, just be a little different tonight and just say aloha to everyone out there, and echo the sentiments that you have just said, Mel, and that is, please, whatever we put out there in social media, it's there for you to take. If you don't want it, hey, don't use it. It's plain it. It's simple as that. But if you're trying to, there's some of you that I'm not accusing anyone, but I've seen it. There's some that want to pick an argument online, and then it's. I guess you have the right to do it, but it doesn't accomplish anything. We're just giving you the facts, because apparently you feel the need to pick on us, and so that means that you didn't have time on your own to go find out the information. So you was making one opihi and one slug on our backs. So hey, I get it, but like anything else, you just need to do your homework, and we leave it out there for all of you to use it. And if you don't have any use for it, then that's perfectly fine. Okay. So where do we start? That was kind of.
Let me just say, for those of you, I know the comments takes us a few days to get through all the comments because there's so many. I see some of you posting about wanting shirts. Send it to my messenger. Just use your messenger, because I don't want to miss it. And I'm sure we've missed a few on the comment section. And as far as the price on the XXX and 4X, Kirk has made these shirts available for free. So we're charging $10 per shirt. I know the shirts cost him more for a 3X and a 4X, but if you just remember Island Athletic Tees, if you wanna get some shirts, just remember Kirk Correa, because he's putting out the money for all of these things. And then all of our proceeds, all $10 of this shirt will go to Hawaii Community Foundation. So yeah, please send the orders through my messenger, so we can make sure we get you covered. I did wanna. There you go.
Nice. Well, he did ask if he wanted to make some on Beverly's. I said no, because I don't like nobody sitting on my face.
Oh God. I did. We're gonna talk about a few topics that's been going on right now, and I think but before we go there, I did want to. There was a friend of mine posted about he didn't believe, or he didn't think that I lived my life in fear. And I was kind of taken aback. This guy's a good friend of mine, and for those of you that know me personally, you know that I do not live my life in fear. Charlie and I both were police officers for many years. Every day we put on that uniform, we head out, not knowing what to expect. I was a 19-year-old cop going into situations where most people should not be. And I'm not saying this to brag or ask for mahalos. I'm just saying that, it is what it is. We've been in some horrible situations in our careers, and definitely don't live my life in fear. And in the military, I've been on a lot of deployments, and this is going to be an analogy that I want to use because it's right on target. We're in a combat communication unit, and we go out and we set up the communication for exercises. Most of my deployments were done in South Korea, many of them less than 15 miles from the DMZ. We set up the communication, the Army come in and set up the runway. My point is this: we set up a perimeter. We set up a perimeter which is manned by soldiers and airmen like myself, and we would take shifts. And the whole purpose of that perimeter was to make sure that everyone inside the compound, and this was oftentimes in a peanut field or some unused land in South Korea, not very good conditions, freezing cold, but the whole idea was to keep the people in the compound safe, keep them comfortable so they could sleep yes, we're in tents and in cots, but they could rest assured that there would not be any intruders coming in, and we would, they could be safe. And our job on the perimeter was always to make sure that every spot of that perimeter was covered. And in some cases where we were shorthanded or whatever, some people have to go a double shift and work 24 hours straight. The idea was to make sure the enemy didn't come in. And that is why the frustration of mine, it's not that I live my life in fear. this is how I'm programmed, that we have a perimeter, which is the Pacific Ocean is our barrier, and the perimeter right now is our airports. And if we cannot secure the airports, and I do have that, maybe we can start with that, Charlie.
Yeah.
If the puka is in the airport screening and the perimeter is not secure, then the enemy comes in, and people can say I'm over characterizing this, or I'm over compensating, whatever. No, the bottom line is this: we don't know what's coming in, and we were assured a couple of weeks ago by the state that they were going to come up with this brand new program. They were going to use HTA, they were going to use transportation airports officials, and that no one would get through that line unless their cell numbers were verified, their accommodations were verified. They gave us their assurance. It's like the guys in the camp. They knew they could trust us on the perimeter that no one would get through. And yet we find out yesterday, day before yesterday, on Thursday, at the Senate committee meeting, it was very clear. And, you know, for many of you that don't have the opportunity to watch these meetings, you know, so you get the tidbits in the news or whatever, wherever you can pick them up on social media. But, you know, Charlie and I, we follow these things every day. And when you get an assurance from the state that this is what's going to be done, you have a level of comfort that you can rely on. Anyway, 2 days ago, it was very clear that the state was not prepared for this. Yesterday, the Senate committee members, Donovan De La Cruz, Donna Mercado Kim, Kurt Favela, and I believe one more. Anyway, they went to the airport to go witness firsthand the process. And everything that we thought wasn't happening, we were right. It wasn't happening. When we find out these guys were being arrested all over the place on Kauai, on Honolulu, we knew that there were pukas in the system. Well, the Senate committee found that yesterday. And again, kudos to our Senate. I know Senator Kochi is on here, and I'm not on here to stroke him. I'm just saying the Senate has done an outstanding job under the leadership of Senator Kochi to ask the right questions and to push the administration into doing these things, and they're not getting it done. But it's not because of the fault of the legislature, the legislative body, the Senate and the House. This is an administrative function that is just not getting done. So, Charlie, why don't you talk about what happened when they showed up at the airport yesterday?
Well, basically what happened, folks, is they showed up, they were taken to screening areas, meeting guests coming off the plane. They observed the National Guard doing temporal checks, but it was when they started to have that declaration sheet that all of them must fill out. That's when they started to see the glitches, because some weren't even asking the questions about as far as accommodations or checking the accommodation. They were getting no answers, and yet letting people through. So those kind of things are very, very, it's concerning, because as you know, we've heard it several times over and over again, the head of the Department of Health saying how difficult it was for contact tracing. So what that means is, once a person leaves the airport, they will call the cell phone that the person had. That's it. They will not call the accommodations. That's another thing. They should be calling, if they're going to a hotel, they should be calling the hotel where the person is. They're not doing that either. So it's very, very, you know, like concerning that we have this false sense of security. So what do we do? The question is, what do we do? I know right now, and this might be getting off the subject a little, Mel, but
there is no subject, Charlie. We don't have just let it flow.
Okay, so with that said, this is what we are faced with. We are faced with the scales of justice, like the scales of justice, right? Blind justice, holding the scales. We need to decide our economy over safety. There is no happy medium between the two. One is going to overtake the other. My whole belief, just me personally, Charlie Iona, not nobody else. If we're going to go towards economy, we got to be able to balance it where we have safety provisions in there. Okay, because the economy. I mean, you look at California today, just today, since they opened up the beaches, they had a spike just today alone of recorded COVID cases that jumped, the largest jump California has had, 22%, one crack since they opened the beach. Now, some may say, fake news or I'm just reporting it. You can take it for whatever it's worth. But California is putting it out there. So there's got to be an agency that's tracking this thing. And there's got to be that in order to validate that there's a spike, those people who are COVID cases had to show up at some ER. 22%. And it happened like that. So the question still remains, when our visitors come, we're at a very, very low point in our visitor arrival. Couple hundred, right? We're at couple hundred, Mel. Just imagine if we ramp up to how it was before. There is no way in hell you're going to be able to control that. There is no way in hell, especially when you have open borders coming from Asia, via South Korea, via mainland US, transfer and come into Hawaii, and then take inter-island flights to the other islands. There is no way you're going to be able to control that. And that is my concern.
Well, we just read the Star Advertiser article yesterday. We had more visitor arrivals than we've ever had since the quarantine started. We talked about this for a long time now, Charlie. It's getting close to a month, if not even more than that, that once the flights start increasing, and I don't want to hear this crap about no more flights coming to Lihue. That, that's like, I'm over that already. It doesn't matter how they get here. It doesn't matter where they connect. The bottom line is their arrival airport is Lihue. So whether they stop in Honolulu, whether they stop in, I don't care where they stop and connect. The bottom line is these tourists are coming to Kauai. We're not counting them. When you look at the HTA report, when it says arrivals to Lihue and you get misled by a 4 or a 7, that's only the direct flights coming to Lihue, which is that one Delta flight that comes in 3 times a week. The people that stop in Honolulu and jump on an inter-island to Kauai, they're counted for Honolulu. So we don't even know. And that explains why you see so many posts on Facebook about, hey, I saw these tourists at Costco. Hey, I saw this tourist at at Starbucks with their luggage. Number one, they should be going straight to the hotel. But they're not counted for the Kauai number. They're counted for the Honolulu number. And then you get this intended residence crap. What the hell is that? What? The problem, and this was noted by the senators, is when you arrive from the mainland, you're mandated to sign the agricultural form. That front page where they ask you if you bring in any lizards or snakes or plants or whatever. You have to fill that form. Now, you can fill them in half, throw them in a seat pocket and walk out. Nobody gonna know. So that's crap to begin with. But nonetheless, majority of people fill them out. The back is optional. The back is the side of the form that is what the inspectors are looking at. They are not required to sign that form. They're not required. So what's happening is they're checking the cell phone number. So you give them your cell number, they call you and the phone rings. You're free to go. In the Senate report yesterday, they said they weren't even verifying accommodations. This is after they told the Senate committee and told the public that that's what they would do, giving us all that false sense of security. That's not happening. Well, that has to change. But how many of these guys are going to get through before those changes are implemented? That is the problem. We also have issues about people coming in with one-night stays. So they may not even have a return ticket, but let's say they're coming in for 5 nights or 6 days or whatever it is, and the accommodation is only for 1 night. How can they quarantine if they're only here for 1 night? And how are you going to track them? You see, this then you get all these people talking about civil rights. This is not the internment camps and blah blah blah. What about our constitutional rights? What about the constitutional rights of the people that are subject to getting this virus because some jackass decided not to follow quarantine? Charlie, your brother had constitutional rights. Where was his rights to protect him from the person that infected him? Where the hell were they? Where's our victims, our kupuna's rights? That's what pisses me off. You see, we watch the Senate meetings, we listen to the administration, they give their bullshit, and then it doesn't get done. The Senate had to physically go to the airport to find out that these guys are lying. And that's what bothers me. So it's not that I live in a life of fear. I don't live a life of fear. But I definitely live a life that I worry about our kupuna. A kupuna who's following these rules, and once a week they may go to Foodland or their morning senior hours. So my wife takes my mother-in-law, who's 82 years old, every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock to Foodland to buy her food for the week. I worry about her that may touch a cart or that may come in contact with some idiot that decided not to quarantine and maybe carrying that virus. See, that's what I worry about. It's not that I live a life.
This is something that I think, for those, and I'm going to try to preface this in a way that makes it somewhat understandable. And that is, right now, we have 0 cases, right? We pretty much have 0 cases here in the county of Kauai. So the question is, why don't we open up the county of Kauai? What we've been saying is, yes, we agree with you, but the state does not have a mechanism to protect us should someone come to Kauai to reinfect. That's the problem. If we want to open and the state has a process to protect us from any possible reinfection, because we contain the virus. It's on records, it's on the books. We contain the virus. There's no way of getting around that, okay? Give us all a pat on the shoulders because a stay-at-home order, everything worked. We contained the virus. We know that the virus first came to our shores from the outside in. What we are saying is that there needs to be a mechanism so there's not a repeat of that outside in action. And that's where the problem lies. So I hope you folks understand when we say that, hey, we want to open up our business, but we don't want your business to be subjected as a cluster because that's easily can happen. Maui Memorial Hospital is a prime example, okay? Not only that, the restaurants they had there, like Kona, prime example of clusters. You can go to any one place. And again, folks, take the example that was given to us by Minnie Cole way back when we brought her on from South Korea, who was like a government liaison there, okay? She boldly said this because they were very adamant with their, and I want to say this correctly, they were very adamant in what they do, and they have a very, very good contact tracing unit. And they were able to get the patient number 31. That's why that number stands out. Some of you may join us halfway through. What is this about patient 31? Patient 31 was a patient in Korea that they were able to trace back who had infected a couple hundred people. That's how precise their contact tracing program is. We don't have that here right now. And that's another problem. If we were to get an outbreak, do we have the necessary means to contact trace and find out where the spread is coming, where it's going, and stop it ahead of time? We don't have that. And that's what we're trying to say. That's what the senators are trying to say, that we have to put these mechanisms in place in order to open up our economy so you and I both can feel safe out there. Because what's the use of opening up if people like me who would spend that dollar, I say, hey, no way, I ain't gonna take a chance. I'm 61 years old. I'm a heart patient. I'm in that high risk category. Am I gonna push the envelope? I'm gonna tell you no. So you can count on the fact that I'm not going to visit your business because I'm not going to take a chance. I want to, but assure me that you're going to have things in place that can make me feel safe to do it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And I think that's, we joke about our haircuts and all of that. If we can secure the airports, if we can be sure that these people, these visitors are coming from hot spots, from Colorado, from Oregon, from New York, from Georgia, from California, if we can be sure, Kimberly, patient 31 actually, she's saying, Charlie, exposed 1,100 people. The initial, I think the direct contact,
Yeah.
but from the direct contacts to the direct contacts to the direct contacts of those people, over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
But that's the danger of this thing, and that's how dangerous this and contagious this virus is. But if we could be sure that our visitors were being quarantined, and I'm only speaking for Kauai, I could take my wife to a restaurant today. I could go cut my hair today, because there's a very, very small chance that the virus is in that barber shop, as long as they're not coming in contact with new potential hosts of this virus. And I think that's all we're trying to say. Right now, there is no, I can guarantee you right now, there is no place you could call, not at the state or at the county, that could give you an accurate number of how many visitors are on Kauai right now. There's no way, because those forms are wrong, and the HTA report doesn't count visitors that connect. So we would not even know how many visitors. But I can tell you, there's a hell of a lot more visitors on this island than what's being reported on the HTA reports. Because again, the HTA reports only counts the people that arrive from the mainland at Lihue Airport, which is a very small number. It does not count the people from Honolulu that or landed in the mainland people landed in Honolulu and came back. And then, there's this thing about, hey, some of them are local residents coming home. So what? They need to quarantine as well.
Hey, remember now, we had a group that went to Vegas. That's the one that popped up on Kauai, but luckily they were contained. There was a group. So we got to count our lucky stars that the thing never ran away from us. Honolulu wasn't so fortunate. Theirs one ran away.
Mm-hmm. And Maui and Kona. Yeah. But the thing is, we for whatever reason, we were lucky we got past that one. But we keep talking about the tourists coming in, but that applies to us flying out. If you got to fly out for work, or if you got to fly out for some essential purpose, that's cannot be avoided. But if anyone is flying out now from Kauai or from Hawaii to the mainland because of the cheap flights, or maybe they want to go see their kids or whatever the case may be, that's just as irresponsible as a visitor deciding to come home, because you're still going to go up there. You're still going to connect and come in contact with people, and then you're going to come back home. So it's no different. It's not about the visitors only. It's about residents that decide to go take pleasure trips elsewhere and then come home. And that's why I think it's really not visitors. I think Mufi Hanneman called it the travelers. You need to really identify these people as travelers, because anybody that gets in that plane from the mainland that spent any amount of time there on the mainland is no different. The only difference is that they have a home to come to quarantine, and these visitors don't. I mean, these visitors are not, they're not planning on quarantining. They know they're going to come here, and they know they're going to be able to sneak out. They know they're going to be able to hang out at the beach, which is what people are seeing every single day. And that is what's really irritating a lot of the local people that are stuck at home and seeing these visitors come and getting away with this. And I think that's horrible.
Well, there was an incident that happened, and this is for the viewing audience out there. I used to work with the Honolulu Medical Examiner's Office, and my specialty was forensics and was basically deaths. And the city and county of Honolulu is totally different from the other counties because we have a medical examiner system. So what that means is all deaths have to go through this office. Whenever HPD gets a call, they refer it to us. We investigate all deaths. Outside counties, the coroner is actually the police chief of their respective county, like Kauai, Maui, and the Big Island. But Honolulu had a medical examiner system. And what happened is, one time we had a case involving an individual, unattended, relatively young. We don't know what happened. We went to the case, and the first thing I thought, drug overdose, he was frothing from the mouth. He had a very contagious disease that he died from, because we didn't know that this individual was running a fever. I say this because when you have cases like that, they immediately inoculate the first responders, the fire department, the medics, medical examiner investigators, anybody, police, anybody that came in contact with that person. Bingo, they inoculate you one time. And then for the next couple of months, you go through an exposure plan where you have to check in to see if your condition has changed or not. Okay. Now that's only a handful of us that were exposed to this individual who was deceased. With this virus, you got to think about it now. Is there a plan large enough that they can check on you? Okay. Well, because remember what they said right now, asymptomatic. What is that? You can have it, but you might not show signs. Is there anything out there that will constantly check on you until you're absolutely cleared? Right now, no. That's how it's going to get bad when the spread starts, because the carrier can be basically innocently carrying it around with them and deposit it wherever they go. And then, like they said, who are the most vulnerable? Someone who has an acquired immune deficiency, right? Those who have illnesses, our kupuna, our elderly. They can just be innocently coming by and get tagged. Next thing you know, once it gets in them, it's a fight for life at that point. What are the recoveries? We have some success stories. People in it, like that poor lady, 95 years old, Maui County, infected one time, Mar Memorial Hospital, right? She is cleared. She leaves. She goes back to the hospital. Some undiagnosed case. What happened? They put her in the room with a COVID patient, and what happened? Bingo. She catches it again. You know, how many times can that person take it? So these are the kind of things that when we sound the alarm, again, it's not to put fear into any of you, but it's to educate you what the possibilities are. Because right now, people are taking a very lackluster, haphazard attitude, like, yeah, I'll go back work already. Yeah, I get it. I know. I want you to go back work. But we got to do it in a safe manner. We have to be safe at all times.
We gotta rely, and that's the part, we gotta rely on everyone to do their part. And it's unfortunate because we looked at, when you watch the Senate hearing, they have the HTA who, their specialty is the visitor industry, the tourism authority. Then you have the airports guy who's, he's a manager or he's in charge of airports. They don't have any security people. They don't have any experts in the security field to help them. I posted on somebody's post today about, hey, Uncle Charlie and Mel, you guys should take over the security. Uncle Charlie and I could put together a plan to cover all the airports. We could get a plan complete, in my opinion, in 3 hours. That is complete. That is complete with assignment sheets for everybody on the line, and in a system that will be so simple. And 3 hours, that's taking a break. We could still have our coffee break, Charlie, and still wrap this thing up in 3 hours. I mean, how difficult can it be? Okay, you don't have accommodations. You go to the next line. That line will either get you back to the airplane, get your ticket, or go to the station, because you're not staying here without accommodations. You cannot. It's against the law. It's not rocket science. I don't understand how difficult they make this. Oh, we really, we'll take that back to the committee. They have too many committees. That's the other thing. It's very simple. You have X amount of passengers coming out. You screen each one. And there's requirements that they need to comply with. If not, they get turned around. That's how simple. If they come here with a one-day reservation and their return flight is not for a week, they don't get to leave the airport. I mean, there are things we can do very quickly and very easily. I volunteer my time for this state. You want me to put the plan together? I could do it. I used the scenario of the military compound with 2,000 people in there and having to manage that perimeter. It's not difficult. It's not difficult, especially when you have a captive audience. They can go nowhere. They're at the airport. They either go off the airport or they get back on a plane. And that is the deal. They're not getting that done. How can you let someone go past that line? You as a human being, as a person that may have relatives that live in this state, you have kupuna, you have kids or whatever, grandkids. How could you consciously let someone leave your responsibility knowing that they're going to violate, that we cannot confirm their residence? Why would, that's almost reckless or negligent, but that's what we got to deal with. Again, the Senate is on it. Unfortunately, the Senate cannot direct them to do much, but I'm hoping that they get this thing done, because as we saw, yesterday's numbers were higher than any other day. It's going to increase. We're going to get more people, and like you said, Charlie, they cannot handle the minimal amounts of travelers coming in now. What's going to happen when they hit the 1,000 mark, the 2,000 mark, the 3,000 mark? What's going to happen? They're not equipped. They're not equipped, and they definitely don't have a plan in place. And I can only hope. I know Senator Kochi is watching, and we're trying to get Donovan folks back on the call next week to explain to us what it is, what they're going through. But for now, every day we wait, more potentially infected people come through. And that is something that we just have to deal with.
Well, you know what, the individuals who have been arrested at this point, what it tells me and what it should tell anyone who is coming to Hawaii, these individuals who are arrested actually expose the weaknesses in our system, because they were able to show that they were on the loose for several hours to days, right, before they got picked up. They were able to show everyone that, yeah, I can answer your questions, but I still can be out and about. Luckily, they were picked up. Luckily, from what I understand, they weren't carried. But the question always remains, all you need is one. All you need is one to start that spread. People, you think right now it is so uncomfortable. You want the order lifted. I want the order lifted too. But as long as we get one person that's going to screw up this whole program, guess what? We're going right back to where we were. So if you think it's bad now, and we don't do our part, we're going to come right back. That freedom, that you so-called freedom, going to be short-lived if somebody should come back and reinfect us one time. Okay, it's gonna come back, and then everybody gonna start pointing fingers. Hey, you know what? It's gonna be too late already. Because why? The spread is moving. Now, again, we're kind of looking at a crystal ball and seeing into the future. But guess what? Hawaii, we had 619 cases total, Mel? Something around there? I think it was 619. Something along those lines. Okay. So just imagine.
Hawaii is right here. 620.
620. Okay. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm trying to make is, before this whole thing started, we were at zero. We were at zero. And all of a sudden now, we get that many cases. Luckily, all the cases pretty much have been cleared, from what I understand. Okay? Luckily, they have been cleared. So the thing is, can we afford to going back to this kind of numbers? Nope, we can't. Because what is it going to do? It's going to shut the economy down again. Because why? The governor has to take action to protect the people. He gonna get his hands tied. I think, the sooner we understand the importance of having a well-defined quarantine program, the sooner we can open up our economy. And so that's why I always said, if the advisors who are telling him this program that's not working, The governor has a better chance going to the Hawaii Humane Society and talking to somebody over there because they quarantines every day. So they know how a quarantine runs. Okay? So that's what maybe they should do.
Well, that I think the expense and the effort that they go through to protect this state from plants and animals and pests, and in the case of the rabies virus, the dogs. That's what I don't understand. I mean, how can you mandate that the front of the ag farm you got to fill that out, but again, there's nobody checking, and hopefully that's something that these guys are going to really pay attention. I mean, that simple change. Number one, everybody, you don't hand the form out to the flight attendants during the flight. No, you hand that form out to the agent upon departure. So if you don't have a form, you cannot say, "Oh, I gave it to the flight attendant mid-flight." No. That flight gets turned in, and if you don't have that form, you don't leave the plane or you don't leave that secure area. Simple things like that. And I just don't understand how those guys we see at the Senate committee meetings on the administrative side got to be making a ton of money. I mean, I don't think these guys are minimum wage employees. They get paid to do these things, and it's so frustrating when they cannot get it done. Again, we're not asking them to be engineers and build a bridge. We're asking them to make sure people have accommodations and verify accommodations. That's all we're asking them to do. That's all. I mean, Lord have mercy. I don't get it. I don't get it. So yeah, I mean, Charlie, I think some people maybe think it's in jest, and maybe it is, but follow what we do with the animals, the dogs. Just follow them. Follow up. Is it unconstitutional for the pet owner who got to separate or be away from their dog for the quarantine period? Is that violating your constitutional rights to have a pet? Can you sue because there's a law that says we got to quarantine your animal because we don't want the rabies virus to come here, but it's okay to allow people to come that may have the COVID? Are you serious? And that's a great segue into, Charlie, the protest that we had yesterday on Kauai and Honolulu. And again, if you cannot handle this, you might want to go somewhere else right now, because that, to me, is just nothing but a bunch of selfish people using this pandemic as an opportunity to go get their 15 minutes of fame and walk around Lihue town with signs claiming that their constitutional rights are being violated in a time of a pandemic, in a time of a island and state emergency declaration. I don't know, Charlie.
Well,
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I think, I kind of see, some people may get upset what I'm about to say. I kind of see what the protesters were doing, but I think you and I, in a way, we're kind of protesting right now by educating, right? And we're practicing social distancing because we're here on air. There's nobody around us. We're not infecting anybody if we were infected, right? We're taking cautious measures by getting the message out over this platform, this media. And maybe the protesters should have done that, spend $149, get Zoom, because they can get up to 100 people. They can get up to as many people as they want, depending on the plan they pay for. And they could have had everybody and do 1 hour protest on Zoom. Don't have to worry about inconveniencing the police department. Don't have to worry. They can still get the same message across to a vast range of people if that's what they want to do, right? They don't endanger anybody. They don't come in contact with anybody. They can protest all they want. They don't have to wear a mask because a lot of them don't want to wear masks. They can do that all on Zoom. But no, they elect to go down there and do it. So that's why I kind of wonder, what really are you protesting about? Are you protesting that you gotta be seen? Because I always thought to protest, however form it comes across, is to achieve your message, your messaging. So if you're gonna be a responsible protester, then don't endanger anybody else. Stay home, do it via Zoom, and protest all you like. Protest till the cows come home. I don't care. But at least you're not gonna endanger anybody. Look at those officers yesterday that had, you think they wanted to arrest the people there? No. But I think there is some mixed messaging going on because the governor's orders there about gathering in open spaces, right? And that's what they were arrested for, because they were gathering in open spaces. And the governor made it perfectly clear. Because I got one question that says, oh, what about here on Kauai? How come none of them were arrested up here? I don't have the answer for that. I don't. It's something that you gotta ask the police chief or whoever. But you know, I don't wanna start anything. It's just that I'm just trying to answer the question, and that is Honolulu did it, and over here didn't, and I'm pretty sure there's a reason why. But nevertheless, the protests, someone told me that, you know, they have a right, you know, right, free speech, protesting. And I said, okay. But I think for me, what kind of hurt is, why did you do it on May Day? To me, May Day has always been something very special to us in Hawaii. May Day is Lay Day. I mean, was the reason for the protest is because it will get a lot of traction knowing that it's May Day? I mean, I don't know. But I think in a way, that's why it kind of backfired on them. What do you think, Mel?
Well, I mean, yeah, I went down. My partner and I went down. We were working yesterday, and you know, we counted probably about 55 people. I think I saw one report said it between 150. I wasn't there for the entire duration, but I was there for for a good part of it, and I didn't see more than 100 people. I probably maybe 60 people at the most. The problem was they were standing shoulder to shoulder along Rice Street. They weren't wearing any masks. The social distancing was not being followed, which was quite frustrating. And, you know, again, the officers were there to keep, maintain the peace. And I'm not sure why those people in Honolulu got arrested. You know, I think it's a discretion call from the department. You know, is your actions going to cause, is it going to make it a better situation or not? I don't know what the situation was, but I do know that these guys were not following the rules. And like you said, Charlie, you get 100 people on a Zoom. Each of those 100 people can do a Facebook Live and share the Facebook Live, and you can reach thousands and thousands and thousands of people, much more than you saw yesterday. That were able to watch it live when it was happening. There were in fact even some signs that weren't even pertaining to COVID. I'm not even going to get into that discussion, but these guys just said, you know what, let's go have some fun today. They were having a blast. And all I can think about is how many of them could be, carrying a virus? How many of them are, empowering others to do the same? The constitutional rights, we heard it many times. The governor does have the right to temporarily put your rights on hold if it is, in fact, for public health and safety. And some say, no, it's all good now. It's all good now. We'll never know how many people on Kauai actually have the COVID until we get the antibody testing going. We didn't have, I think the most recent count as of yesterday, I think we tested 1,300 people on the island. So, we cannot say with all certainty that we only have 60 or 160 cases, because we don't know. We didn't test enough. But the bottom line is that they didn't have to go out there to make their case. And they chose to go out there and violate the law. If the first time they were out, they had their social distancing. While they were moving, they took off their masks, but when they stopped, they had the mask on. No, yesterday they just completely defiant of the rules, and that is not good. That is not good. So I guess, Charlie, like you said, we are protesting the protesters here on Zoom, on Facebook Live, so they know that we don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate you basically slapping everybody in the face. Said, yeah, we know you guys are stuck at home, but we're gonna come out and we're gonna protest because we think we should be able to wear masks. We think that the county should be wide open. Everything should be open. Totally irresponsible, in my opinion. Again, we cannot stop the influx of visitors. We cannot even screen them. So we're this is a very uh, potentially volatile situation that, again, one infection, one cluster can really set this county backwards.
Well, another thing too, I just commented to someone, and they're right. I made the comment about Zoom. Not everybody has a computer. Yeah, that's true. Not everybody has the technical skills to get onto Zoom. But one thing that I do worry about, and I've seen this before in the 80s during protests, that you always have two sides of the issue, right? Once you start getting people upset on either side, that's when you're gonna get the tendency for violence. It will happen. I've seen it before. I sure as hell don't want it to happen. Okay, so don't get me wrong. These individuals want to protest. They have a right to do so. Fine. But yet, there's people on the other side who are just getting fed up already with these individuals. I can't control them, and I don't want them. And please, if you hear me, do not do anything. Okay, do not do anything. But you hear it all the time. Hey, send them back, slap them on the head. That's talk right now. But pretty soon, it's gonna go into action. And I gotta think of both sides of the argument, because nobody should be hurt over this physically for expressing their views. Okay, and that's the thing that I worry about. It's like one caged animal. You keep on pushing them in the corner, they're gonna come back out and they're gonna bite. And I'm sorry, that's just the facts of life. Do I want that to happen? Of course not. Will it happen? Possibility. Should it happen? Absolutely not. But I just want to make sure that everybody stays safe, and I hope they, any of these protesters, if you're watching me now, I'm not trying to change your mind, but just know what some of the dangers are.
Well, I've always said, your constitutional right ends, or your right to do whatever you want to do ends when it crosses the line and has a possibility of injuring someone. My rights are just as important as your rights. My rights, or my kupuna's rights to be safe, is much more important than your right to walk up and down Rice Street with a goddamn sign. That's just my position. And is that selfish? Maybe. But it's not just my kupuna. It's everybody's kupuna. See, we're not talking about a development project that's going to be done in an area that nobody wants it to be done. We're not talking about a government budget item like a rail project or a condo project or a subdivision. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a virus that can kill our kupuna and our residents with immunity or immune issues. That's what we're talking about. See, your right to march up and down the street without a mask and spread your damn germs ends when that could possibly hurt our kupuna. And whether you believe that or agree, that's up to you. You believe what you want. I'm saying take that personal responsibility to keep everybody safe. I use the story of my daughter wants to come home. Dad, we just got locked down another 2 months in Oregon today. Governor said, nope, 2 more months. We had a little spike, 2 more months. Dad, I want to come home. No, you're not coming home. You don't think I want my daughter to come home? I would love to have my daughter quarantine here for 14 days in my house where we could see and be with her. But it's not the right thing to do right now. That is not the right thing to do right now. That's just, I'd love to have that. I'd love to go jump on a plane and go visit her and go quarantine with her in her house for 14 days. Why? Why you want to go risk anybody else's health or even your own by doing that? Just that, I think, is what's frustrating when I don't understand. There's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And just because you can, just because you feel you can, doesn't make it the right thing to do. Yesterday, display or that protest really upset a lot of people. Really upset a lot of people on the island. And every day that goes by, Charlie, you notice the posts get more hurtful, more personal, and I think
Yeah.
you're calling it as you see it. And I wish that would stop, but it's not, because people are getting angry. Because after the last protest, with a very, very small amount of people, it was almost a slap in everybody's face. You came right back out on social media and you said, oh, we're going to do it again. In fact, we need some Kanaka Maoli. They didn't even spell it right, but we need some local people. The last time we never have any locals. We want to bring locals. In fact, the first 10 of you that show up, we'll pay you $30. How do you think that make the people feel? The local people. How do you think they make the local people feel?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to resort to paying your protesters to come and protest. And yeah, it was just so upsetting. And again, right now is when, and that's why I say, from after Hurricane Iniki, the feeling was so different. The cooperation, the love, the aloha was everywhere. I mean, it was amazing. I don't see that here. You see a lot of it, but it was everyone had that spirit after Iniki, everyone. And yet you have these people. Did anybody go protest after Iniki? Because they weren't happy, because they couldn't go back to work, or because we never have tourists, no. And you know what? We still had vacation rentals that could have opened up and welcomed tourists, but no, nobody went protest because it was not the right thing to do, because everybody was suffering. This time, you got a lot of selfish people here thinking about themselves, thinking about them. And that is the biggest difference I see between Iniki and COVID, is that we're not seeing the same type of aloha that we did after Iniki. And that is scary. That is scary.
Well, informational wise, I do like to say that I like to thank the viewership that had followed this journey with Mel and I, because a lot of you have expressed that you've taken away a lot that information that we've put out there. And I made a really good friend who wants to move back to Hawaii, and she lost her grandma to COVID, and she's going for her PhD in epidemiology, and she wants to bring her experience back to Hawaii because she has roots in Hawaii, and she wants to move back to Kapolei. And she told me, she said, Uncle Charlie, every so often we're going to have some dreaded disease, that virus that's going to come about. But I want to be one of those that if I can fight the fight, I want to be there to fight the fight. But it's hard to fight the fight when we got people that ridiculing us or taking pot shots at us, thinking that we're almost like Ghostbusters. And I said, you in this game, you really got to get a stiff upper chin. And don't worry, because it's easy to talk smack. It's easy to talk smack, but the moment the person's family is involved or they lose a loved one that they have a direct connection to, the attitude will change. I said, like me, you lost your grandma who you love. Now you're trying to put, and this person told me that her grandma sent her to college all these years. It was her grandma that funded her college. And so now she's going for her PhD and she wants to be an epidemiologist. And, I say kudos to her. And, if you can use the help, come back to help Hawaii, perfect. But I also told her that, when you get people out there that they thrive on negativity. They thrive on shedding on people just to help with shed on them. And you know what? Shame on them. But you know what? You hold a stiff upper chin, because when the bell go off on the last round, guess who's gonna be standing? Gonna be you, not gonna be them. Not gonna be them.
Yeah, well, hey, Scotty Shapiro, I see your comment that you're saying that wasn't what happened. Nobody offered to pay protesters. I mean, you might want to go back, check your Facebook post, man. I think that was enough people saw that. $30 each to the first 10 people. So, no, they did offer. And I don't care who offered, whether it was one or all or what, I'm just saying That's what the post, that was a social media invite. It was very clear that they were offering $10 or $30 to the first 10 people. So, again, this is going to pass. This is going to pass. And Charlie, we may be accused or criticized for overreacting or causing fear or whatever. That's fine. Everybody has their opinion. I don't believe we're causing fear. I don't believe, I think most people haven't been exposed to death as much as we have. You, Charlie, I mean, in your role at the medical examiner's office, you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. But I think when you deal with death and you deal with the families of people of families that lost loved ones, when you got to go inform a parent that their child was just killed in a car accident or died in a drowning accident, and you're not built that way. People aren't designed that way, and that's why I have so much love and aloha for our first responders, because they are doing what most people cannot do or would not do. So I think when we look at something like this differently, and maybe that's our shortcoming, maybe that's our downfall, maybe we deserve the criticism we get. But for people to take this lightly, knowing that every one of us we have a responsibility and a duty to protect each other, I think sometimes people just misunderstand what we're trying to do, and it's not about fear mongering. The facts don't lie, the numbers don't lie. When you look at the amount of people that have died from this disease, it's not a pleasant death, and the amount of family members that have been affected, we can prevent that. See, we have an opportunity with the right system. We can protect our people. We can prevent unnecessary death. But I don't believe the state is taking this that seriously. And that is my frustration. And I'm hoping that through this broadcast and other broadcasts like this and comments and our decision makers hearing the pleas from our people, that things are going to change. I can only hope that's going to happen. Otherwise, we will see increases in numbers. We will see more death, and we will see more families getting destroyed because of this virus. That's all we're trying to stop.
Well, let me say something for those that maybe don't understand some of the process that goes into death notification. Aside from the family who is going to receive the unfortunate news that their loved one has died, a lot of pressure is put on the person who's going to deliver that news. I can say when I first started with the medical examiner's office, my second year, once I was already handling cases on my own with no senior investigator shadowing me and using all the skills I had from the police department. I remember that year I averaged about 368 deaths that I investigated by myself. Whether it's natural or unnatural, you still have to investigate it, because that will determine whether the case gets signed out so the family can take the loved one to the mortuary and start preparing for services, or the person will be investigated through the medical examiner's office. I think the point I'm trying to make is there are really no winners in this scenario, because the family is affected because they lost a loved one. I, as an investigator, I had to build up thick skin over a while, because why? It's just so much. The most cases I handled in one night during my 8-hour shift. Because normally what you'll do is you'll go to a location, do your investigation, retrieve the body, and bring it back to the medical examiner's office and continue your investigation there. But one night I had 8 calls. I didn't have enough time to go. Like, one call was out in Wahiwa. Next thing you know, I had to go Kahuku. Then I had to go to Androni all the way at Makapu. I mean, it was just like one after another. So what I had to do is I just said, hey, there is no way I can go back to the morgue, drop the body off, and get back. But I know it's doom and gloom, but what I'm trying to say is somebody has to do that job. And if we can prevent that from happening, We can save out somebody from giving you the bad news that your loved one has died. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It is not an easy task. So what happens is you build up this dry sense of humor because why? That's your fight or flight syndrome, right? I mean, I sure as hell don't like that. But you build up this dry sense of humor because that's all you can do. If not, you're gonna go bonkers. I'm telling you right now. I mean, I miss my wife so much. She was here on Kauai. I would actually sleep in the morgue so I could catch the early morning flight the next day to come visit her on Kauai. That's how life was for me. Okay. So what I'm trying to say to you folks out there is notifying someone of a death is never easy. And COVID is part of that process. Okay. But if we can take precautionary measures so we don't have to go through that, then why not take that route? That's all I'm saying. Why don't we take that route so we don't have to make that notification? Because you're giving a life expectancy. Why flirt with danger and cut that life expectancy in half? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Well, this is an opportunity for everybody. We have our heroes. We have our police officers. We have our medics. We have our nurses and doctors and all these people that are on the front line. We have all of these heroes, true heroes. This is an opportunity for every single one of us to become heroes. Do what you can do to save a life. Wear your mask, stay at home, wash your hands, all of those things. You have an opportunity to be a hero for someone else. And you may never know. It's like I always talk about the lifeguards. They would have to come up to the council with their reports of how many drownings they or how many people they've saved, how many rescues. But the number we don't know is how many people did they tell, hey, don't go in the water. And that person may have drowned if they went. You cannot count those. It's like the COVID. We don't know how many people we are going to save because you just don't know. You wear your mask when you go out if you have to go out, or when you're doing the things you have to do. Somewhere down the line, a life is being saved. So we all can be heroes in this. We just got to do what we got to do, and not test the system, not go be this COVID-idiot or doodle boy, and because you think you can, you go out and do some silly stuff. That is the way of the world. So anyway, Charles, let's do something different tonight, man. I know everybody hangs on to watch the flattening the curve, but why don't you play us a tune, bro? Why don't you just play us a tune and get us out of here? It's already shucks. We went past the 1 hour mark. Hey, by the way, it's not too late, you can share this. Share this if you think it's important. What we discussed. Hit the share button now. Do the start a watch party, because that'll actually start it from the beginning. So, for those people.
There's an island.
There we go. Oh, nice.
Across the sea, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, and it's calling to me. Beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai. In the midst of her grotto, Mother Nature made her home, and the falls of Wailua lovers often knew. So I'll return to my isle across the sea. Beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. Love you guys. God bless. We'll see you guys tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. God bless you all. Thanks, Charles.
Okay, take care, my brother. Love you, man.